Hey guys, good morning. I'm going to make a new video today of my basic ponytail headband pattern. I've had a few requests for a better video that it's blurry, and of course I had a few comments talking about the way I use and too much. So my apologies for that. I guess I pause in between saying things and may not know what to say. I'm not experienced with doing videos, but I'm going to do the best I can and make a better video so that you can make the ponytail headband pattern for yourself or for someone, or to sell for whatever reason you want to make it. For this, I used Vanna's Choice yarn. You can use whatever yarn you have available. Any number 4 worsted weight yarn will work. There I'm saying a pair of scissors, a 5mm hook, and a ponytail headband. Now I may have to refer back to my pattern because it's been 3 years. I can't believe it's been that long. It's been over 3 years since I made this pattern. So I don't make it as often as I would like to. When I first did the pattern, I made quite a few variations to it, and of course you can make variations to the pattern, but I haven't in the last couple years. So to start with the ponytail headband, we're going to slip stitch to join your yarn to the ponytail headband. So you just put that on there and join it there and do a chain 1. Now you're going to do 24 single crochet stitches around the band. 1, 2, 3, 4. My crocheting has slowed down some lately because I have a small rotator tear and I'm not able to crochet as quickly as I would like to. So it is affecting my ability to complete projects as fast as I would like to. And you just want to continue doing this until you get 24. And as you can see, I worked my tail into the stitches because that way I don't have to weave it in, and it's secured inside the stitches. And let me just count my stitches real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 21. 1, 2, 3, 24. From that, you're going to slip stitch to your first stitch and chain 1. Now, for rows 2 and 3, you're going to use the half double crochet stitch and just crochet around. So you're going to make 24 half double crochet stitches around for both rounds, for round 2 and round 3. I'm using my phone, so I don't have any way of pausing. I'm having to actually do this as I'm talking. I don't have a way to pause it and come back with it finished or anything like that. Or if there's an app out there, I've not found it yet, or just don't know which app to use to make it where I can pause and come back with it completed for you guys. So my apologies for that. I'm continuing on with round 3. And slip stitch join. A little fact to know, I am actually left-handed, but I crochet with my right hand. I'm going to snip off that little bit of tail I have. When I was taught to crochet, I had an older aunt who taught me sitting on her front porch, and she held the hook in her right hand, so I didn't know any better. I was a kid, and so I just held it in my right hand. So I cannot even hold a hook in my left hand, even though I'm left-handed. So after round 3, this is what your piece should look like. So you have 24 stitches. Now, I don't have my stitch markers out, but what I was placing stitch markers for was just as a reminder on where you are going to, because we're going to be working now in rows, so we're going to just be working across the top. And it's just a reminder on that down here on the bottom is where you will eventually, because we're going to be making the band part now, and this is where you will join the bottom part. So even if you don't use the stitch markers, it's okay. But just to keep in mind that that's how it's going to come around to join the other end. So that way when it's finished, you know, there's the ponytail portion, and you're going to have your headband. Now, when I did the headband, I think I made like between 42 to 45 rows. Now, according to my head is, if you look at my circumference, mine is 21 inches. So if you're going to make this for someone who has a larger head, then you may need to do a few more rows. If you're making this for a child, maybe a toddler who already has long hair, you could use a smaller ponytail holder and just alter the number of stitches, but you would alter the number of rows, because of course you're not going to need, as many rows for a smaller head. So this is a very versatile pattern. Now I use the half double crochet stitch. You could use, I think, the herringbone half double. I love the texture of that stitch. It creates a beautiful texture. You can play around because when you're doing the rows, use any stitch that you want to make your headband. You could use puff stitches. You want to just get started with the basic, because we're going to start with 6 stitches, or let me look. I'm sorry. Just so we're going to start with 8 stitches. Yep, we're going to start with 8 stitches. So that's what we're going to be working with, 8, and then we're going to increase. So the first stitch here, the first one, we're going to do an increase. So we're going to put 2 half double. Now, if you're going to do a different stitch, just remember to put 2 stitches in that first stitch. So there's 2 stitches, and then we're going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the last stitch here, you're going to put 2. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. Alrighty, that gives us 10 stitches, and we used 8. And then eventually, when we get to the end of this, we will decrease back down to where we use 8 to slip stitch to 8 stitches. Okay, now this is at 10. Now we're going to increase it to 12 stitches. So you're going to add 2 stitches in the first stitch. So 1, 2, and then work 1 crochet in each of the stitches across, and in the last crochet stitch you will add 2. Oh, this hook is not a very good one that I chose to use this morning. It's not my good one. I'm sorry. Here we have the last stitch, and we're going to add 2 stitches, and that makes 12. Now, this is as wide as I wanted the headband to be for me. Now, if you want your headband to be wider than that, then of course go ahead and add another row of increase. But for me, when I looked at it, and you can sort of eyeball it just to, I wanted mine to be about that length, that it covers my forehead and it goes into my hairline. So if you want your headband to be wider, then of course go ahead and add another row to 14 or to 16. But you're still, no matter how many increase rows you do, your total amount of rows is going to be somewhere between 40 to 45. And again, if you're making this for yourself, make sure to check as you go to see how it's coming around to fit you. And when you get, to the end, that's when we're going to, at 12 here, we will do a decrease back down to 10 and 10 back down to 8. And once our count is back down to 8, we would join directly across to the 8 stitches on this side. So you're going to have 4 stitches here unworked and 4 stitches on this side unworked. So the 8 stitches in between on this end are going to be the joining stitches of the opposite end of the headband. So I hope that makes sense to you and helps you to make this headband pattern. So I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to try to pause this video so I can go ahead and work on it, and then try to figure out how I can splice the two together and show you my completed headband pattern. So if you have any questions, I encourage you to ask, and I apologize Again, if I've said and huh and pauses too much, I'm country as they are, but I do love to crochet, and I do love to design patterns, and I do love to help people, and I want to help you to be able to achieve this pattern so you can make some pretty headband patterns for the people in your life that have long hair and who want to stay warm and not necessarily wear a hat, but have a cute ponytail headband pattern to wear. And so I will hopefully be back here in a little bit to finish up with you. Okay, so now we're back. As you can see, I've made my rows. Now, I like to finish my rows and if you put it around your head, I like to be maybe like a couple inches from the two touching, because I know I have to do the decrease rows. So now, because we're still at 12 stitches, so now we want to do a decrease to get back down to 10 stitches. So we're going to decrease the first 2 stitches, and then we're going to make a stitch in the next 8. And then you will decrease the last 2 stitches. Now this brings our stitch count back down to 10. Now for the next row, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to decrease again to bring our stitch count down to 8. So you will do a decrease with the first 2 stitches. And then you will make a half double crochet in the next 6 stitches. Well, if I can keep my hook on. And then you will do the decrease on the last 2 stitches. And now your stitch count of 8 is the same as your beginning stitch count of row. If you remember, when we started, we did around a single crochet to start with, 2 rounds of half double crochet, and then for our first row we did 8 stitches. So now we are back at 8 stitches. So this is what we're going to do. Now I did not put the stitch markers on mine because I know what to do, but we're going to bring this around to join. Now you're going to have 4 stitches open on this side and 4 on this side. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, then you know in that 5th stitch is where you're going to start to do your where you're going to join. So let me do that. So let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to slip stitch. Now you could single crochet that, but I think slip stitch looks better. So you're going to slip stitch your 8 stitches to the other end of your ponytail holder, the ring portion. Number 8. And with that, I like to do a chain 1 there, and then when you are ready to cut off, pull your needle through, and then just take your yarn and needle and weave the end to secure. Now with this pattern, you can add a pendant, you could add appliques, you can change the colors, do stripes. I've made these into seasonal ponytail headbands. I've done woodland creatures. You can, there's just, I've made sports teams. You can change up. I've done a football, made a football pattern for the ones that go to football game. You know, if you, I know I did a Carolina Panthers since I do live in North Carolina, and we are Panthers fans. But you just want to weave your tail in and then trim off the excess, and your ponytail headband is complete. So if you put it on, and then I have my hair pulled up at the moment, but I can pull my ponytail through there. And now I have, as you can see, a ponytail headband. And it's nice and just, it fits perfect on, I think 12 width is the perfect length for my head. But again, if you want it to be wider, you know, of course, go more stitches. If you want it to be smaller, do 10. You can make it as wide or as small as you want. So I hope this updated video has been helpful to my basic ponytail headband pattern. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'd love for you to subscribe, and please give me a thumbs up. I am trying to grow. My blog is relatoyou.blogspot.com, and you can find the pattern, the written pattern there as well. If you're on social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. You can just type in Rilla to You. That's RILLA to You. Thanks, and have a great day.